मी सर्वप्रथम विनंती करतो श्रद्धेय स्वामी शुद्धिदानंदजी महाराज यांना की त्यांनी आम्हाला सर्वांना मार्गदर्शन करावं. श्रद्धेय स्वामी शुद्धिदानंदजी महाराज.
परात्मानमेकं जगद्बीजमाद्यं निरीहं निराकारमोङ्कारवेद्यं यतो जायते पाल्यते येन विश्वं तमीशं भजे लीयते यत्र विश्वम्. नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. हरि ओम तत्सत्. हरि ओम तत्सत्. हरि ओम तत्सत्. My humble pranams to revered President Maharaj. My pranams to revered Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj. Pranams to Swami Jnanavartanandaji Maharaj. Pranams to Swami Vishnupadanandaji Maharaj. And my pranams to all the sadhus assembled here, Matajis of the Sharda Math, and my affectionate namaskars to all the devotees assembled here. This day is a very special day for this center because this wonderful Institute of Human Excellence has been inaugurated by most revered President Maharaj. And I feel a special sense of joy to come here on this very memorable occasion and share a few ideas on Swami Vivekananda's contribution to the world culture. As it was said a little while ago, Pune has been my joining center. So yesterday when I came here, I was just looking into these premises here, the place where I first came. So when I think about Swamiji's contribution to the world culture, one thing which comes to my mind is this monastic organization, which was started by Sri Ramakrishna, but which was given a formal shape by his disciple Swami Vivekananda. This itself is the biggest contribution to the world culture. Because, why I am saying this? Because when I came here yesterday, I was looking at that room where I spent my first night after leaving my home. And I was just imagining, see, so many such monks have come and associated with this great Sangha, and the Sangha is contributing immensely to the world at different planes. So, the subject of Swamiji's contribution to the world culture, of course, it's a very vast subject. There are several profiles to it. I shall just focus upon one or two and important aspects of it. A few days back in one of the meetings where Swami Vivekananda was the main topic of discussion, one person, speaker, he was talking about Swami Vivekananda and he said, Swamiji is the greatest historical figure of the modern time. When he said that Swamiji is a historical figure, one of the important chapters of history in the modern times, I was just wondering, is he just a historical figure? I think he is not merely an historical figure, he is a living force. He is a living phenomenon. He is not one of the chapters in the history. He is not a story of a bygone era. He is actually a living force, a living phenomenon. Swamiji is living through his ideas. Now, if you see, Sri Ramakrishna has made some predictions about Narendranath. At that time, Naren had not become Swami Vivekananda. Sri Ramakrishna had said, you say this Naren will teach the world. We all know that, the famous prediction made by Sri Ramakrishna. And he had stated that Naren will shake the world to its foundation by the strength of his intellectual and spiritual powers. Once again, I repeat the sentence. It's a very important prediction made by Sri Ramakrishna about Narendranath. Sri Ramakrishna had said that Naren will shake the world to its foundations by the strength of his intellectual and spiritual powers. Now, interestingly, this prediction was made by Sri Ramakrishna maybe in the middle of 1880s. And just after a couple of years after that, we find what happened in 1893. This Narendranath of Sri Ramakrishna, having become Swami Vivekananda, he bursts upon the Parliament of Religions like an avalanche. And that marks the turning point for two things. See, we are discussing Swami Vivekananda's contribution to the world culture. Swamiji, when he stood on that platform of Chicago Parliament of Religions in 1893, two things happened. He restored the lost glory of India and the lost glory of Hindu Sanatana Dharma. The world was made to sit up and listen to him about India's glory and the glory of Hindu Sanatana Dharma. So that was the turning point. Just a few years back, Sri Ramakrishna had said that this person is going to shake the world to its foundation, and within a few years in 1893, we find Sri Ramakrishna's words coming true. And again, a couple of years later, after that, this happened in 1893. In 1895 or 1896, Swami Vivekananda makes a very important statement. And this statement is about his vision and mission. See, this sannyasi, he came with a vision and a mission, very clear-cut vision and mission. What was his vision? Swamiji remarks there, very interesting statement. He says, compared to the last time, this time I will have to work more harder, and I have just started my work here. He says, I have just started my work. Already 2-3 years have gone by after his American work. He's saying that I have just started my work here. I have just raised 1 or 2 waves in America. We have to raise a tidal wave. The society has to be turned upside down. The world has to be given a new civilization. Just imagine, look at his words. Swami Vivekananda is saying that the world has to be given a new civilization. This sannyasi had this vision, giving a new civilization to the world. Now, what do we mean? What was in Swami Vivekananda's mind when he said that the world has to be given a new civilization? It's a very important statement. If you just look into the present day human society, or even the times in which Swami Vivekananda was making this statement, it was a time when there was a cacophony of conflicting ideas reigning the collective mind of humanity. Ideas like atheism, agnosticism, and we know the heights of religious bigotry, fanaticism, and sectarianism, and the narrow dogmatic ideas which was reigning all over the world. In that situation, Swami Vivekananda's main mission was what? To give a new civilization which will have a totally different basis, a totally different adhisthana, a totally different adhara. What is going to be that adhara, that adhisthana of this new civilization? According to Swami Vivekananda, that new civilization will have the basis of the great Adhyatma Vidya of the Vedika Sanatana Dharma. A civilization which does not have this Adhyatma Vidya as the adhisthana, no matter how rich that civilization may be materially, that civilization, sometime or the other, it will come and face destruction. It is this spiritual science, when I talk about Adhyatma Vidya, it is a science of human consciousness. Now, this was the greatest contribution made by Vivekananda to the world culture by introducing the science of human consciousness to the entire human race. Because, my dear devotees, remember, today we are attending this wonderful function here. These are all outlets to spread this great Vidya, Brahma Vidya. We should remember when we talk about Swami Vivekananda's ideas. Now see, we are talking about Swami Vivekananda's ideas, Swami Vivekananda's contribution to the world culture. What is the meaning of Swami Vivekananda's ideas? What do we mean by Swami Vivekananda's contribution to the world culture? I always make this very top point very clear. Vivekananda's ideas or Vivekananda's contribution to the world culture means India's contribution to the world culture, number one. It means Hinduism's contribution to the world culture. Because the ideas which Vivekananda preached, they were all the ideas, the universal, scientific, verifiable ideas of the great Vedika Sanatana Dharma, which is today known as Hindu Dharma. In short, what did it preach? Throughout his 9 years of ministration from 1893 to 1902, his only one mission was to place this great Adhyatma Vidya, the science of human consciousness, to the entire world. This is what is going to change the destiny of humanity in future. So, this was Vivekananda's one central vision and mission with which he had started to work in America. Now you see, now this spreading of this great Brahma Vidya all over the world, did it happen for the first time in the 19th century? Was it totally a novel phenomenon? No, it was not like that. Swamiji says, Hindu ideas, these Vedic ideas have gone outside of India from time to time, even in the most ancient times, even before Buddha. The Hindu ideas have influenced the world from time to time. I will read some passages from Swamiji, where Swamiji says, you see, from India, henceforth have started the founders of religions from the most ancient times, deluging the earth again and again with the pure and perennial waters of spiritual truth. Hence, from India have proceeded the tidal waves of philosophy that had covered the earth, east or west, north or south. From India, from the most ancient times, the great Vedic ideas have gone outside the bounds of India and they have influenced the world culture in foundational ways. From time to time, this has happened. And that's why Swamiji says, you see, the debt that the world owes to India, to our motherland, is immense. A beautiful sentence. Swamiji says the debt that the world owes to India is immense. Taking country with country, there is not one race on the face of earth to which the world owes so much as to the great Hindu race, Indian race. Such an important idea it is. Swamiji says the entire world is indebted to the great Indian race, the Hindu race, from where this great universal scientific science of human consciousness have gone and influenced the different races and cultures of the world. And there is one very speciality about the Hindu thoughts. Swamiji says, from the most ancient time, this great ideology of the Vedas, it has gone all over the world and it has influenced the world culture. But how did it do? Did it spread through violence? Never. Swamiji's one statement I just repeat here. Swamiji says, our message, the message of India, the message of Hindu Dharma, this Adhyatma Vidya has gone out many a time, but slowly, silently, and unperceived. The one characteristic of Indian thought is its silence, is its calmness. At the same time, the tremendous power that is behind it is never expressed by violence. One of the defining characteristics of the Indian thought is its silence and its calmness. It has never expressed through violence. Then Swamiji says, it is always the silent mesmerism of the Indian thought. It is the silent mesmerism of the Indian thought, like the gentle dew that falls unseen and unheard, and yet brings into blossom the fairest of roses, has been the contribution of Indian thought, the Hindu thought, to the thought of the world. Silent, unperceived, yet omnipotent in its effect, Indian thought has revolutionized the thought of the world, yet no one knows when it did so. This has been the characteristic of the way the Indian thought or the Vedic thought has spread all over the world from the most ancient times, and it has influenced the world cultures and civilizations in various ways. We can't even imagine. That's why Swamiji refers to Hindu Dharma as the mother of all religions. It is the mother of all religions, and India is the cradle of human civilization. All the civilizations, directly or indirectly, have proceeded from this great, our motherland, India. And then, Swamiji says that, now if we have just noted this point, that how Indian ideas or the Vedic ideas have gone all over the world, and the way it has proceeded is never by violence, but it has always gone silently. It is a silent mesmerism. It captures the human mind, because this is the one science. Science will always very easily capture the human mind. It appeals to the human intellect. It appeals to the human heart, because what Vedic system of thought is speaking about is verifiable. Unlike the other systems, which is just a belief system, which cannot be verified, the great Vedic system is a system which is verifiable by anyone, anywhere, living in any part of the world. Now, coming to Swamiji's contribution to the world culture, just now I was just talking about Swamiji's ideas means they are all the ideas of our universal Vedic system of thought, and the core of that is the science of human consciousness. That is what Vivekananda had spread in America. Now, just like our thought had spread in the ancient times silently, Swamiji's thought is also spreading all over the world silently. Now, there is one question. I often think, now there are some sadhus here who have come from America, from abroad, and a few days back also, a few devotees had come to Advaita Ashram from Canada, from Toronto, from Mauritius, and I was just having a talk with them. I was asking them, do the common man in Canada know about Swami Vivekananda? They said, no, Swamiji. If you ask a person walking on the street of Canada, do you know Swami Vivekananda? They have absolutely no idea who Swami Vivekananda is. If you ask somebody walking on the streets of America about Swami Vivekananda, they have no idea about it. Yes, Vivekananda is known in certain academic circles, intellectual circles. In Harvard University he is known, but among the common men and women, in all the continents, whether it is America, Russia, China, or Latin America, or Africa, if you ask a common man walking on the street, do you know who Vivekananda is? Hardly anyone will have the knowledge of who this person is. Then does it mean that what Vivekananda started, the work which he started, it has all become futile? Because we always, we measure the success of any mission by gauging or evaluating how much the world knows about the person who's initiated this great movement. We don't have to worry about from whether the people know the name of Vivekananda or not. What is important is his ideas are silently working. It is happening. I will just give one instance. In around 15 years back, around 2009 or 2010, an article came in a very famous, important journal in America, the journal called Newsweek. In that journal, the editor of that journal had written a very important article. The name of that editor is Lisa Miller, and she writes an article with the title, "We Are All Hindus." Now, see, we are talking about Swami Vivekananda's impact or contribution to the world culture. 15 years back, in 2009, an article comes in an American journal written by an American woman, And the title of the article is "We Are All Hindus." She's referring to the Americans. No, this is a very, very strong statement. She is talking about the Americans and she is saying that we are all Hindus. How dare! If you just look into the American census, 75% of the American population, they are all Christians, Protestant Christians. And you know what is the Christian faith, the Abrahamic faith? And this person, this editor is saying that today the Americans are all Hindus. What do you mean by that? And she beautifully elaborates that point. She says that in census, most of the American population, they're all Christians, but what has happened is today a large percentage of American people have started to think like Hindus. What do you mean by thinking like Hindus? See, when we talk about the thought structure of the people, if this transformation has been wrought from whom, by whom? It was wrought by this great Yugacharya Swami Vivekananda. He had sowed, he had planted the seeds of this great science of human consciousness, this Vedic thoughts, into the collective mind of humanity in 1893 and the following years. Once again, I repeat, Swami Vivekananda planted the seeds of this great Vedic system of thought, the universal scientific, verifiable Vedic system of thought into the collective mind of humanity, and slowly this seed ideas have started to wreak a transformation which is going on even today. So what change has come about in their lives? See, the Christian belief is that, now slightly I have to talk about the Abrahamic system. In the Abrahamic system, God is a being who is somewhere. The principle is that God is a being who is somewhere. A being means he is a being somewhere up in the sky, beyond the heavens, beyond the clouds. There is a being who is sitting there. And he is sitting in the heaven. And if he is pleased, you get a ticket to the heaven. And there is a judgment day. So this is the idea of so-called the God in the Abrahamic system. In contrast to this, Lisa Miller says that today people have started to reject this idea, and they today believe that God is not a being sitting somewhere. God is in everything and everywhere. See, we are talking about Swami Vivekananda's contribution to the world culture. It is not perceptible to the gross eyes, but if you just look into the thoughts of the people have started to change. This change Vivekananda brought this time. This had happened many times in the past. This is not a novel phenomenon. In the history of humanity, this kind of a transformation brought by the Vedic system of thought had happened many a times, and it all happened unnoticed, silently, without any violence behind it. And then that Lisa Miller says, well, this is one big change which has come about in the thought system of the Americans. Then she says, you see, the Abrahamic faith, they all believe in one birth and judgment day. In one birth and judgment day. They don't believe in rebirth and reincarnation. Today, a large section of the Americans, they believe in reincarnation. They believe in rebirth. They believe in the theory of karma and karma phala. They believe in avatarahood. They believe in guru. Most interestingly, today they prefer cremation to burial, she says. Just like we Hindus, we cremate the dead body, today many of the Americans have started to prefer cremation over the burial system. Now just imagine, nobody could have thought these changes could come into existence even in the middle of the 20th century, what to talk about in the 19th century when Swami Vivekananda went to America. So these ideas which Vivekananda had injected into the collective mind of humanity, that has started to work, how the ideology of the people, the vision of the people, the drishti of the people is slowly undergoing a transformation, and this is happening. One more important point which comes to my mind is, just imagine, in 2014, I'm talking just hardly 10 years back, in 2014, 21st June was declared to be an International Yoga Day. Just imagine, what was the starting point of this phenomenon called International Yoga Day? who is at the root of this great thing. And it is said that in the history of United Nations, no one resolution was passed with such unanimity as I think 177 countries, they voted unanimously in favor of having 21st June as the International Yoga Day. Just imagine today, the whole world is accepting yoga. From where did this whole thing start? It was Swami Vivekananda who had injected these ideas of yoga, Vedanta, the science of meditation, and all these things into the collective mind of humanity in 1893 and the following years, and we are seeing the fruits of that. This wonderful transformation which is taking place all over the world. So I would say just one more point and I would just wind up my talk. Today, whether the world knows the name of Vivekananda or not, it is immaterial. What is really important is that the ideas which he had injected into the minds of the people, that is silently working. People may not know from where these ideas came. They may not know the name of Vivekananda, but the ideas which he had spread in his lifetime from 1893 to 1902, those ideas are silently doing its job. Swami Vivekananda himself had said in one place that, you see, my name should not be made prominent. Very important idea. Swamiji is saying that my name should not be made prominent. It is my ideas that I want to see realized. The disciples of all the prophets have always inextricably mixed up the ideas of the master with the person, and at last killed the ideas for the person. This is the big mistake which the disciples of all the prophets have made. They have mixed up the person with the ideas, and at last the ideas have been killed for the sake of the person. Swami Vivekananda says this should not happen. What is important is the ideas. Ideas are more important than the person. Actually, Vivekananda is echoing the great principle of the Vedas. What is that? Vedas are apaurushaya. Vedas are apaurushaya. They are not the creation of any human being. These principles and truths, they are eternally existing. And it is these principles which have to be placed before humanity, which alone can bring about a new civilization in the future. Vivekananda was a great proponent of these universal scientific ideas through which he hoped that we have to give a new civilization to the humanity. So Swamiji says, my name is not important. What is important is that we have to work out these universal ideas which alone can take humanity to the acme of human well-being and human, excellence. Today we are standing here in this Institute of Human Excellence. This human excellence, individually and collectively, can be brought about by principles, by ideas. It is ideas which change the individual. It is ideas which change humanity. These ideas, in order to spread these ideas, Vivekananda started this great Ramakrishna mission. Swamiji says, my ideas can be summed up in a few words: to preach unto the humanity their divinity and how to make it manifest in every moment of life. This was Swamiji's central idea. And he says, you see, my body may fall down, but I shall not stop. I shall not cease to work until the world knows that it is one with God. So today, Vivekananda may not be there in the physical sense, but as I said, he is not a historical chapter. He is not a chapter of history. He is a living force. He is a phenomenon who is alive in and through his ideas, and his ideas, no matter whether the world knows his name or not, his ideas are slowly bringing about a transformation. See, it takes time. 125 years, 150 years, it's a very small span of time. Perhaps we are not going to be alive to see. We are already seeing the changes, but to see a completely blossomed human civilization, perhaps it may take a few centuries, but that is the direction in which we all are heading. And at the root of this is the great ideas of the Vedic Sanatana Dharma, whose greatest proponent was, in the modern times, Swami Vivekananda. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Revered Swami Shuddhidananda Maharaj, for a very insightful thoughts you have presented before us. Two statements you made is very touched my heart. That is, Swami Vivekananda is not a historic figure. He's a living force and he's a living phenomenon. Second one, the contribution of Swami Vivekananda to the Indian culture. It is the contribution of India or the contribution of Hinduism to the world culture. And the last one, very important, India has sent her message slowly, silently, but unperceived. Through these, he weaved his speech very beautifully. We are very grateful to Maharaj for his deliverance.